Hello and welcome to the Vector Garden YouTube channel. Today is Pizza Day in Italy. World Pizza Day is on February the 9th. So just in case you want to prepare a nice pizza, which we are doing today on Italy's Pizza Day, you will be in time for February for the World Pizza Day. So let's start. We're going to do that in Illustrator. I have the ingredients ready here, but we are going to do it from scratch. And this wouldn't be Vector Garden YouTube channel if we weren't be doing it a little different. So, of course, we will be creating the whole pizza from one anchor point only. I'm going to start with that. So let's put it in the center. I have a gray outline in here which is locked because I just want to keep the space. I'm not going to start with the bottom of the pizza, but we're going to build it top down and start with the ingredients. So here's the anchor point, and this is all we need from the tool panel. And now all we need is the appearance panel. So let's get it open here. And there is one stroke and one fill, and we're going to set the fill to a nice red and the stroke to a slightly darker red, like this. Now, you do not see the fill or the stroke because they have just one anchor point. They are not there. We need to make them visible. So let's go to Effect, Convert to Shape, Ellipse. Like this, and there you see the fill is now visible, and we do not see the stroke yet. It's slightly darker, but still it's not visible yet, and in a minute we will be seeing why. I'm going to set this to absolute, so no relative things in here. So if you will be creating a graphic style from that, you will always get the same size of pizza with that. It won't adapt to anything. So let's set this to 20 millimeters, like this, like so. So we get some nice little tomatoes. And that's that. And you see, because I had the fill selected here in the appearance panel, that just the fill is visible. Now, to get the stroke visible as well, all we need to do is press the Alt key and copy the effect to the stroke. And now we have this. I'm going to zoom in slightly. So what we now need is just another fill. I'm just going to duplicate it. So we have two with the effect. It's already applied. But this needs to be slightly smaller. I'm just going to make it 11 millimeters, like this. We don't see it because it's the same color, and we're going to change that for the top one. So let's go to the gradient panel. And the gradient is still there. I have already used it, and just click on it. And there you see we've got a gradient on it. We can also rotate this slightly, so let's just rotate it, and that's that. So now let's put some seeds in here. Let's have another fill, and it already has the ellipse effect applied, but I'm going to use a different color, and of course I need to edit that ellipse effect. Let's set this to 2 by 2 millimeters. It's a circle, but we are going to change that. So let's zoom in even more, and let's go to the effects, to the warp effect, and let's see which one fits in here. So arc won't give us that. Let's try this one, and I'm first going to set it up like this, and let's see what we can get here. So this is nice, like so. And you see, this gives us some nice triangle shape, like this. I'm going to OK, and then let's get into the ellipse again and set this like so. And you see, we get this nice seed shape like this. That's nice. Now we need some more seeds, and of course we need them arranged in a half circle. So let's go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and to the Transform effect. And let's make some more copies of this. And of course they are now stacked. Let's change that and arrange them like this. And let's see, we can just move them, horizontal moved, and they get rotated slightly like this, and maybe move them also vertically. And we need to adjust this. We need to just figure this out, how much they need to be rotated and moved so that it fits. And that is just trying it out and seeing what works. Just like that. You just have to try that slightly. And I think I'm just going to leave it like that and rotate it a little more like this. So this is nice. We've got that nice curve. And now we need to move that because it needs to be down here like. So we need another transform effect. We need a new effect like this. And then let's just move that down like this. This is nice. And move that to the left. Well, that's okay. Let's move it like this. This is nice. Okay. And now we need to reflect that so that it sits up there as well. So let's get another transform effect, and I'm going to apply that effect, and let's reflect it like this. And of course we need a copy. So like this, or rather like that, like this, and then rotate that. And let's see if we reflect it round here or round here, but it doesn't matter. We need to move it anyway. So let's move it to the left, and let's move it up and slightly to the left. Okay, like this, to the left and slightly down. And we need to rotate it even more, and now move it up. You see, it's a lot of adjusting doing it this way, and this looks nice. So now we need to make two halves of that inner circle. So let's fake that, and let's just take this one, duplicate it, and move it up here. Change the color like this, and then we need to change the effect. I'm going to set that to rectangle, and let's make that a little taller like this, and then we need to rotate it like so, and like this. This is nice. Now you can brush that up even more. You can apply gradients in here. You can add more shapes and make a little gloss on it, whatever you wish to do. But I'm going to leave it like this. Now we want some more of these. In order to get them, what we can do is make duplicates. So duplicate this whole thing. That means we have to add transform effects into each of these fills and the stroke in order to make duplicates. So let's start with that one, and let's add another transform effect like this, and let's add 3 copies they are rotated, which is not bad. So you see, like this, we can move them a little, like so. And you see, when you set this to random, this doesn't change anything in the movement of each of them, so that doesn't help us, unfortunately. We have to live with what these effects can offer. So this is not bad. This kind of arrangement, I like that. Okay, and we can go even higher with these numbers by just pressing the arrow up. So like this. That's nice. So this transform effect now needs to be copied in the other fields. So let's just take it, press the Alt key and move it up there, and then press the Alt key, move it into here, and again another time into here, and then into this one, like so. Now we need to move all of them. So in order to do that, we need yet another transform effect. So let's go into there again. Like this. I want to have a new one. No copies this time, but we need to move. So let's move them and move them down so that we get a nice arrangement in that pizza, like this. And again, this needs to be copied into all of them. And you need to make sure that it's the last one. It needs to be applied at the bottom of each of those effect stacks, like this. Nice. We can close them. Unfortunately, even if I close all of these, later on, Illustrator will always open them again. So that will happen. We cannot do anything against that. So next thing, we're going to add peppers. And to do that, I'm going to add a new stroke like this. And let's color that in a dark green. And let's just open that. And we're going to apply, of course, convert to shape, ellipse. And again, let's set this to absolute. And let's see, we're going to take this to 18 millimeters. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can change it later on, so it doesn't really matter. And in order to get that nice pepper shape, I'm going to select in here so that Illustrator does not apply the next effect to all of that. That can take some time to render, so let's avoid that. And let's go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and then Pucker and Bloat. And let's bloat that to get that nice pepper shape, like this. And now we're going to make a copy, give this a lighter color. Should have been the upper one, so let's just exchange the two and make this like a little more weight. And then let's have this. Now when I zoom in, you see those are not nice, they are centered, and I want to have the dark one only on the outside. So let's go to Effect, Path, and offset the path. And this needs to be just slightly, so just like this, and then we've got it. So again, we need some more of them, and let's start with the dark one, and I'm going to Effect, and then Transform, and make more copies. I'm going to make 5 this time, and let's rotate that, and then let's move that like this and like this, and let's see if we can get what we had with the tomatoes. But this time Illustrator does not want to give me that. Let's make fewer copies. but still I can't have that. Like this. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, we're getting there. And let's have this kind of distribution of them, and like this. Okay, nice. And again, take this, press the Alt key and copy it to the other one. Let's move this to the side, and you see, there we go. And then let's go to Effect, and then Transform, and of course, we need to move them to the left, slightly more to the left. Maybe a little down, like so. And that's nice. And again, copy it. And I think this gets a little in the way. So let's try, when we open that again, if we can rotate them so that they do not overlap the tomatoes that much, like this. And I need to enter that rotation value in here as well. So let's just do that. And I think what I will be doing is enlarge them. So they need to be larger than the tomatoes. So we need another transform effect and apply a new effect. And let's just enlarge this like this. And if we take another, another center for this enlargement, then we get a nicer distribution like this. So let's copy that. And there we are. So this copying seems to not have worked so well. So they are slightly offset. Let's just make this a little thicker to hide that, and that's okay. Now it would be nicer if they are below, so let's just take them and move them there, and then the tomatoes overlap the peppers. So next thing, we need to have onions, of course, and again I'm going to put them in here. Let's create another stroke and make that magenta, and then apply convert to shape ellipse and another absolute. Let's make this larger like this, and then we need to edit the shape. You see, this is not round, this is slightly off. So what can we do about that? Now what we could do is use roughen, but roughen has randomness, so we need to apply that to another stroke, a white one. And if we apply roughen once more, then we get a different result, so we cannot use it. We need to do it with warp. Let's start with the arc, and the arc is not that bad. You see, we get that nice off result with it, like this. That's nice. And let's make a duplicate like so and apply a light gray to it. And again, I'm going to make that one larger, thicker, and I need to apply offset path. And again, just 0.5. So we just get it slightly offset to the outside and that there is no gap, like this. And again, we can make duplicates. So let's go to the transform effect. Let's make 3 more. And again, I'm using that about 100 degree. And let's move this to the side and there as well. And again, move it some more like this. and that's okay. And I'm going to take this and copy it like so. So there we have that. And again, we're going to take this and apply yet another transform effect and move the whole thing into the center of the pizza. And slightly down, maybe slightly more to the left. So they are not always evenly distributed, and we can, of course, mimic that like this. We're getting there. The next thing is olives. And I'm going to save the file. And then the next thing we're going to do is olives. We're going to create the olives in this kind of shape. Again, slightly off round, and we're going to create some ellipse-shaped olives, which are like from the outside. So let's just start with another stroke. And I'm going to color it in dark brown, make it thicker, and let's just convert it to shape, make the ellipse absolute. That size is quite nice for an olive, so let's leave it, select it, and then let's go to warp and make it like this. That's nice. Make it so I don't think they get bent that much. So let's make it like this. Okay. Let's duplicate that and zoom in like so, and then let's make the next one lighter, and we can also apply the offset path to that one. So let's go to offset path and let's just make it minus 0.5. So like this, and there we have the first olive. And again, we're going to create some more. Let's go to transform, and then like this, and make some copies of that. Like so. That's nice. So let's take that transform effect, press the Alt key and copy it to the other one, like this. Okay, that's not what I wanted here in the interface. And let's again go in here and use another transform effect. And then let's move the whole thing like this and copy that to the other one, like this. And again, I think it should be below the tomatoes. So let's just move it there. Great. And now we want to have olives. So I'm going to add a fill. And let's make that in violet. I'm going to just press the Shift key and open the color panel to color that slightly differently, and then let's make that into an ellipse, absolute, of course, and like so, maybe a little larger, like this. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to apply a gradient to that. And I'm just going to drag that color into here. And let's move that out like this. And this needs to be more like blue, but slightly lighter, so that we can get a nice olive color. And let's make it into radial gradient. And now we need to slightly guess. So in order to get that that oval shape into the gradient. So you see, it won't be possible to use the gradient tool or the gradient annotator, so we need to do it like that. Okay, that's nice. So with this one, I do not want that distribution thing that we used before to use the transform effect to make copies. What we can also do is duplicate that fill and position them exactly. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to apply a transform effect to this one, and I won't make any copies and just use the transform effect to get this to where I want it to be, like this. And I can also rotate it any way I like. Now I could perhaps make one copy of this. And then let's see what we get. We get that one in the center. That's not bad. And maybe get them closer together like this. Okay. And we can add another transform effect to that, like this. And this time not make a copy, but use that one just for positioning them. Like so, and like this. Okay, and in order to get them on different places on the pizza, what we're going to do is just create new ones, and then we can edit those transform effects to get them anywhere we want. Just like this. You see, just create some more. Make another duplicate, added the transform effect, like this, and maybe get them down there, like so. So, these are the olives, and now we need to add some cheese, like this. So, let's go down here and add a new stroke. This needs to be down here, like this. And I'm going to color it yellow, which is not quite cheesy yellow. So let's make it cheesy yellow. Like so. And now let's go to the effects and convert this to an ellipse. Again, absolute. Maybe like this. Make it slightly thicker. And now we're going to add a transform effect. Not transform, but distort and transform and roughen. Make that rougher, but less detail and smooth. Something like that. That's okay. And then let's go to another transform effect and let's tweak that. And there we can get creative with that. I wouldn't do it too many of that, but slightly like this. Okay. Now to get that cheesy look, we're going into the stroke options, set these both to rounded and then make a dashed line. You see, these looks like those cheese, the grated cheese, like that. And as I said, roughen has randomness built in. And the tweak as well. So if we now make duplicates of that, then we get different results every time and get this rough cheese look. So, and in here what we can do is go into the ellipse effect and make that smaller to even get the cheese into the center. Like this. And then we can also make it larger to get it more to the outside. Okay. You can also apply a gradient on a stroke to that so that you get some slightly three-dimensional look onto it. So let's go in there and go into the gradient panel, and let's drag that color in here and take out of the other. I'm going to duplicate that, and let's see if we can set that to some orange like this, and then apply a gradient that goes across that stroke. Like that, you can make it look 3D, and you can work on that. So let's now complete that and get all the round things into that pizza. And for that, I'm going to add a fill. So let's see where that one went. It's not up here, it's down there. So let's get it out of here like this. And I'm going to leave that at red. So let's go to convert to shape ellipse and make that much larger. So like this, 150. So there's the pizza, the tomato layer. And let's apply the Rathan effect to it, smaller and smooth and maybe less detail. That's nice. And again, we can apply gradients to that so that it looks more like 3D. And then let's add some more. I'm going to make a duplicate of it. Let's make that cheesy yellow, like so. Slightly lighter, or maybe a little darker so that we see the other cheese, and we need to make that smaller, maybe about 130, like this, so that we have the cheese on it. And then we make another copy, and let's edit the bottom one, and that one needs to be larger, which is going to be the base of that pizza. And we need to reduce the roughness. And of course, we need to use a different color on it, like this, which looks very dirty. So let's get that dirt out of there and make that more like this. And again, we should apply a gradient to it. So let's go to the gradient panel. Again, drag that in here and get this one out of here like this. And it's a radial gradient, which is nice, but this one needs to be lighter. So like this. Needs to be a lot lighter, and then we are going to edit that gradient so that this looks like a nice brown color on the outside, and then we get all this stuff on that pizza, and we can celebrate Pizza Day, either the Italian one or the World Pizza Day in February, or maybe even both, because pizza is just tasty. So, bon appetit!